Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, whenever you may be watching this video. My name's Steve, and I'm the vicar here at St Catherine's Church in Houghton on the Hill. And this is another one of our Thought for Thursdays, a collection of thoughts, devotions that are really coming out of our experience of lockdown and coronavirus. And it's really special today that we've been joined by my beloved wife, Joanna. Welcome, Joanna. It's great to have her with us. She's just going to share now a little bit about her experience of lockdown. Joe, great to have you with us. Welcome to your own home. I'm gonna start off just by asking you that question that a lot of people have been using to start interviews. How is lockdown for you?
That is a big question. Let's see if I can answer it. Well, I guess I'm really surprised at how much time has passed since our family went into lockdown a couple months ago. And looking back, a lot has changed in that time. I know early on there was a lot of fear that was prevalent in my life, my daily life. Fear of the unknown, fear of illness, fear for my loved ones, fear for myself and my family, fear of lack of provision. Will I get milk today? I'd never feared that before. Will there be enough food in the cupboard tomorrow to feed the family? Just a lot of fear. That was real big early on when lockdown happened. Also, the words distance. I was really struck by the words distance and isolate and separation. Those words took on a whole new meaning for me. And prior to that, the COVID-19 upside down world, I don't think those words were really in my vocabulary on a regular basis. And they just, even saying them now, really brings emotion up inside me. And they took on a whole new meaning. What the word behind the words distance, isolate, separate. There was a lot that covered, and it was just felt really negative and really, really wrong in a lot of ways. That was hard to come to terms with early on.
Brilliant. So a lot of fear really seems to be the thing that dominated your experience so far, and I guess for a lot of us the fear of the unknown is a big one, isn't it? We don't know what's coming along, and those play into some of those ones that you said. So what would you say has helped you then through this period of fear as a result of where we're at the moment?
A few weeks back, the Lord drew my attention to Psalm chapter 34. And I've been reading it and trying to really consider he's saying to me through it. And it answers a lot of my own fears and worries, and really spoke directly to me, I feel. But also I think others would find it really helpful. And so I want to share a couple things that really struck me. And the first is along the lines of the separation and the isolation and the distancing. And those things in this time have been right to do, for the safety of others, for the protection of our loved ones, for the protection of ourselves. It has been absolutely right to distance and to separate and to isolate. But, I was struck by how we serve a Lord, a God who those words don't come into his vocabulary. He is not a God that distances himself. He is not a God that is isolating from his people. And he doesn't separate from me. And Psalm 34 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And I was just struck by, not only does he not distance or separate, he does the opposite. He draws near, he draws close to those who are brokenhearted and comforts those who are crushed in spirit. And that has been a real mind shift and a comfort to me in this time, knowing that even though I am separated and distanced from friends and family, I serve a Lord who is near me. He searches me out. He comes and finds me where I'm at, and he draws close to me, and he heals and saves and comforts. And that has been a real mind shift for me, a real wonderful game changer in this time. And then another aspect about the fears that I experience, and just thinking of that word fear. The Bible talks about fear, and it talks a lot about fearing the Lord, being the beginning of wisdom, and the fear of the Lord. And I know this as a Christian, and I say that, the fear of the Lord, the fear of the Lord. But I think in this time where fear has become heightened and different in a lot of ways for me, the fear of the Lord has really, I've come to really grasp and understand it in a way I never did before. And that has been amazing. And Psalm 34 talks about seeking the Lord and him delivering us from all of our fears. In verse 4, he delivers me from my fears as I seek him. And then it talks about the actual fear of the Lord. And it says, as we seek the Lord, he does deliver us from all of our fears. And then it talks directly, specifically about the fear of the Lord. And it says in verse 9, fear the Lord, you his holy people, for those who fear him lack nothing. And a lot of my fear has been around lacking provisions, lacking necessities, lacking health, just a lot of fear of that. And it paints this picture in Psalm 34 of a young lion. It says, even the young lions suffer hunger, but those who fear the Lord will lack nothing, no good thing. And I have taken such encouragement from those words and that knowledge that as I run to the Lord, and this fear of the Lord, I just want to clarify, isn't one that causes, that debilitates or causes anxiety or affects us badly. The fear of the Lord is one that causes us to fall to our knees in awe and wonder, and to run towards the Lord, run towards the object of our fear, because we know there is safety there. And that is the fear of the Lord. And this picture of the lions, that even the lions go hungry, but do you know what? As we fear the Lord, he provides. And I have seen that in this time. And it hasn't necessarily been a material provision. What it has been peace that doesn't make sense in this upside down world. It has been comfort when there was no one physically comforting me. It has been a provision of strength and power in my being. And he has given me that as I fear him.
Brilliant. That's great, thank you. So, just final question then, as we wrap up. What advice would you give to anybody during this time who may be fearful, whether that's somebody who is a Christian, who's tracking with Jesus, or maybe someone who isn't a Christian, doesn't yet know him? What advice would you give to them?
I would just really encourage you, if you know the Lord and you have a Bible, to meditate on this Psalm 34, read it and see how he speaks to you through it. And maybe you don't profess to be a Christian, but you have internet access. You can always look up this passage online and have a read of it. And I would say, as I've been challenged with, where am I placing my fear? And am I allowing the loneliness and the separation to eat me up in this time? That I would challenge you that there is a God who has an answer for both of those things, and he is ready to meet you, and he is seeking you out. And put him to the test. Put him to the test and see how he answers you and how he provides for you and comforts you in this time.
Brilliant, Joe. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. As you were talking there, your second question we were talking about, it struck me actually that the gospel is completely counter everything that we think, in that we think that God is far away and aloof, yet he draws near us. At the moment we're encouraged, no distance is the thing, but God draws near us. And actually fear says to us we run away from the thing most often rather than towards it, yet fear of God means that we actually run towards him. It's all just kind of countercultural, isn't it? And counter what we might think. And if you've been listening to this and you've been struck by anything, maybe you've got some more questions, then do shoot me an email. I think my email address is on our website, or you can post a comment under here, maybe for Joanna, a question for her. And Joanna mentioned those words "game changer" during her talk. That wasn't me teeing her up for that, but you did. Yeah, it was great. And we're running a course very soon called Jesus the Game Changer, a 10-week course. We'll do it via Zoom, so you don't even have to leave your own home. And each week we'll look at how Jesus really has changed the course of history, and why the good news of Jesus is so radical and so incredible. And why it is we'd love you to hear more about him. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Joe, for your time. And do join us maybe on Sunday morning for our online service at 10:30. You can find the details on our website for that. But hope you have an enjoyable rest of the day, whatever it is you might be doing. And we'll connect with you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.